One of the most common things that I hear from agency owners is how they can better manage their projects to avoid delays or limit them as much as possible, as well as any kind of scope creep. So, if you don't know about scope creep, it's basically where something comes up unexpected that you didn't really foresee. And now suddenly it's causing either delays or additional budget in the project. Sometimes the scope creep is, on your side as an agency for having overlooked something, and therefore it's going to eat up into your budget. So, of course, we want to avoid this as much as possible. So, today I'm going to share with you a little bit about what we do in our agency to help mitigate this risk. So, one of the first things you need to do is really plan out your project. For example, if you're doing a Shopify website, and think about what kind of things are you going to need from the client, and at what point of the project does it make sense to ask them for it. So we try to, as we all know, the most expensive resource is the developer, right? So we want to make sure that once the development starts till the finish, you're going to have no blockers or as little blockers as possible. So what does that mean? Well, that means getting things like apps installed from the client, account set up, any permissions that you may need to any of their tools, get that out of the way, right? Because sometimes clients can disappear for a week and it just puts you in a complete blocker. So on the design side as well, or when you start off the project, you want to make sure that you get the logo, the product images, the lifestyle images, how they want to organize their collections, all their information, anything that you may need. Try to request that as early up front as possible. You'll notice that clients are more responsive and more eager to get the project started. So what we do is we just basically tell them, look, until you give us all of these things here, we don't start the project. So the timeline that we gave to you of, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, it doesn't start until we get all of these things from you. So it's very clear to label that they know when the kickoff is. And the pre-kickoff is, they may take 3 weeks to do it, but that doesn't mean that those 3 weeks are being eaten up from your project. Of course, starting the project and allocating your resources, that's a whole other topic of how you can mitigate that, because you also don't want the client to spend a month to start the project. But at the very least, you're not going to have blockers along the way, or you're going to have as little as possible. Of course, you also don't want to bombard the client with all of these things at the very beginning that they say, it's going to take me actually a month to give it. You want to do it along the way and set timelines and very clearly label it out for them so that they know what's their responsibility and what's your responsibility. And then as an agency owner, you want to make sure that the project manager is working towards, doing their delivery on their side as close as possible to the timeline, right? That's the goal for everyone. That basically ensures a smooth project. What's also important is that you look back on all your previous projects and see, okay, how long did each of these things take us? We used to do it where every single project we would ask the designer, okay, how long is it going to take you to make the wireframes? How long is it going to take you to do the mock-ups? And it just doesn't make sense, because you can basically plan that out. You can, of course, if it's a bit of a bigger scope, then you need to readjust that. But the idea is that as soon as the project kicks off, you can trigger it, and we already know, okay, how long is it going to be until we have the final launch? So we've done that in a way, we use Monday.com. We've done that in a way where all the way from the setup, discovery, design, development, all of that, we know that at the end, we are here on the due date. And you can see here, the project has just launched, and okay, the documentation and the project brief is delayed, but everything else pretty much ran smoothly. So you want to be as close to that as possible. Another thing that you want to do is have great client communication. So in case that you are running into roadblocks, you don't want to just say, okay, the development has started, we'll see you in 6 weeks. You want to update them at least on a weekly basis. So we are big fans of Basecamp. Here's an example of, every Friday we do our meetings with the project managers, go through all of the projects, see what's going on, what we need to share with the client, and then we post these weekly updates every single Friday to the client. So they know on Friday that they're going to get this update. So we even show them here, okay, this is what we're working on next week, what we were finishing this week, and need to do QA, any blockers that we have. So here's a great example of a blocker that we had. where we're missing a Google Maps API key. That this should have been requested from the beginning. It's not that it's not common to have this on every project, so of course things can slip through, but that's very important. We also share with the client how many hours we spent on the development, how much percent to completion we are, and whether we're on track or off track. So then the client can respond and so on. This is really important to do. Mitigate as many things as you may need from the client, any blockers, any delays, and have great client communication. If you are running into issues, be honest with the client, they'll appreciate it. It's better that you are proactive rather than them coming to you at the end and saying what's going on with my website. So if you guys have any other questions, please shoot us an email or feel free to book a consultation for more project management advice.